Hello YouTube and welcome back to another video. This is Champion 2D Rob back again. How's everybody doing, guys? So this is basically going to be a pickups vid. I have not made one in at least 2 months, I believe. Yeah, I haven't really been buying like a lot of stuff. Just sort of spending a bit more time just sort of gaming rather than just sort of accumulating a lot of stuff. But I do have a couple of things here, as well as a couple of new systems. Yeah, just a few things. I thought we'll just go straight into it, guys. Very first thing I'll pick up, I think I'll start with some PS4 stuff. Now, I really have sort of slowed down buying PlayStation 4 games. I really have. Like, I try just to sort of save. I just decide to wait for the sort of certain AAA games that I'm really after, and of course I might get the odd limited run game or whatever. But generally, I try to minimise sort of picking up sort of stacks and stacks of PlayStation 4 games because I've got enough to get on with. And so I only picked up 2 games here. One is basically an upgrade, and the other game is one I've been looking forward to. And the game I decided to upgrade to is Valkyria Chronicles. Oops, it's a little bit. Hopefully, you can focus. There we go. Okay, yeah. So I picked up Valkyria Chronicles. This is the remastered Europa edition, and I had this already on PlayStation 3, but I decided to get the PS4 version simply because it has extra missions, basically all the DLC missions, and of course it's sort of been upgraded and enhanced or whatever. But I will say, guys, on PlayStation 3 I absolutely love this game. This is basically a tactical RPG, but sort of like think games like Fire Emblem and Advance Wars. It's got a lot more in common with Advance Wars. The only difference is that this game plays out in 3D as opposed to sort of the top-down view that you normally associate with tactical RPGs. And I had so much fun with this game. This game was developed by Sega, I believe, and it is a fantastic game, guys. Honestly, I mean, if you're a fan of Advance Wars or Fire Emblem, those sorts of games, this is definitely up your street, guys. And it plays really well. The fact that it's in 3D works really well. Sometimes matches can get really tense. It's a fantastic game, and also very much like the Fire Emblem games, your characters can die, and you have to sort of carry on without them. So you do need to sort of be wary of the moves that you make. Otherwise, you know, your characters will die in war. It's brilliant. This is a fantastic game, and I'm glad to sort of upgrade it. I will be moving on my PS3 version, but yeah, really happy to get this. And it was cheap as well. I mean, this was it was definitely under £20. I think I paid 15 quid for it, 16 quid for it. Yeah, brand new, sealed. And the next game I picked up here, and this is one that I've been waiting for ever since it initially came out. It's a fighting game, but I held off on it simply because I wanted to wait for the, you know, the quote-unquote Game of the Year edition, so to speak. And that is Injustice 2, Legendary Edition. Basically, yeah, this is a brilliant game. The sequel to Injustice: Gods Among Us. This has all the DC characters, and as you would expect, it also has all the DLC characters as well. And it's really good. I mean, I expect no less from NetherRealm. I mean, they've delivered some fantastic fighting games. They put a lot of effort into the single player campaign, which is great for me because that's how I like to play it. And yeah, really enjoying this one. So this is definitely a great purchase. Okay, moving on. Let's see, where should we go? I think I'll go with this one system here. And this is something I was really chuffed to get. I found out about this actually quite late in the day. There was a pre-orders for the first batch. I missed out on them, so I kind of missed out on the version that I wanted to get. When the second round of pre-orders came, the particular version, the model that I wanted, was still not available. So this was my second choice. But upon getting it and seeing it in person, I'm actually really glad that I got this version. And what I wound up getting was the analog Super NT. Focus, please. Focus. Focus. Yes, so what I picked up was the analog Super NT. And if you don't know, this is basically a clone Super Nintendo console. But honestly, that would be selling it short, because if you don't know already, this is basically a system that does not run an emulation. It does play off cartridges. It has a FPGA chip, which essentially has been programmed to think it's kind of like it's been programmed to think it's a Super Nintendo essentially. So it does sort of run at an electrical level. So it doesn't run off no computer, no RetroPie in here, nothing like that. And it's region free, and it plays all my Super Nintendo and Super Famicom games flawlessly. And it's a hefty bit of kit. This feels like a proper console, and I have to say I'm absolutely over the moon with it. This is fantastic. Now, the reason why I would opt for something like this over, say, the actual Super Nintendo is simply because I don't have the space for a CRT. I think my Super Nintendo looks like crap on a HD TV, so it kind of puts me off from using it. But this, of course, has HDMI output, so you can play your games in HD and it looks great. And unlike sort of other clone systems, you know, this is not emulation. It does run off the hardware, and it's just fantastic. It's one of the best purchases I've ever made, and I'm really looking forward to what Analog, the company, does next. And I really hope they make a Mega Drive alternative, as I would love to have that as well. And I would like to get their NES version. You know, hopefully they reissue it, because their initial one is very expensive, but it's also not really even available anymore. So you have to kind of get it on the second-hand market, and it's just way overpriced. But if any of you guys are considering getting one, trust me guys, this is absolutely fantastic. So over the moon with it. As you can see here, I have the receiver, and that's because I also picked up the wireless controller from 8BitDo. And I was hesitant to pick this up at first. In fact, I got my system, I didn't use it, I was using wired controllers. But another YouTuber friend of mine, 16-Bit Brit, he did a review on it, and he said it was really good. And I'm always wary about sort of these third-party wireless controllers and stuff, but it feels really good. I mean, it feels great in the hand. And honestly, from using this to using a proper Super Nintendo controller, it's hard for me to decide, you know, between the real thing and of course this one. It plays great, it responds really well. It's definitely a great thing to have. I mean, I still use my official controllers as well, but I like to have this as an alternative. But also, I forgot to mention as well, the Analog Super NT also has Super Turrican and Super Turrican 2 built into the system, which is amazing, because those games go for a lot of money. Oh, focus please. Why are you doing this? Let me figure this out. Okay. Yeah, now, yeah, so they're both very expensive games. So I'm glad that I'm actually able to play them on this. And like I say guys, this runs my Super Nintendo games and my Super Famicom games flawlessly. So really, really happy with this. Fantastic purchase, I don't regret it. Next thing I picked up, I also picked up the Nintendo Classic Mini. And fortunately I was able to pick this up without paying silly money for it. I did buy it on eBay. I've noticed the demand for this has sort of gone down. Like there are still people on eBay trying to ask for silly money, but generally on auctions they sort of round out roughly for about what it went for at retail. So I did pay a little bit more. Unfortunately, this was my second attempt at buying this because the first time I bought it, the seller didn't send it, and which is really annoying. And it's happened to me now a few times. I've had sellers, I suspect anyway, not sending me the item. I guess because when I initially won this the first time around on auction, I got it for a really good price, a really low bid, and I guess he didn't want to send it out. So he tried to, you know, because he was very quick to refund my money. So that was kind of annoying. So I had to, I went on, I started bidding for it again. And I wound up winning it for a little bit more than what I won the previous one for. But it is in fantastic condition. It was in like new condition, basically. And yeah, I've been playing it. I've been really enjoying it. And I do plan to hack it. That's something I do plan to do. I've actually got, at the time of this video, I've got a couple of weeks off, and I'll be doing a lot of things I've got to do. I'm also going away for the weekend. But in my spare time, I will be hacking this. I've already rounded up a few ROMs, so I'm gonna, you know, give it a try and put some good games on it as well. But what's on here is actually really good. I actually, with the game. One of the games I was looking forward to playing was Excitebike. I know some people might be saying Excitebike, like what's so good about that? It's just a game I've always wanted to play. I mean, most of the really good games on here I've played before, but there was always one game that sort of always piqued my curiosity. I wanted to give it a shot, so I was glad that it was on this collection. And of course the original Metroid, which I've actually never played, so it's good to sort of try that out as well. So yeah, happy with that. Okay, moving on. I have a PS2 game here. Now, you've heard me say this before, guys. I don't really pick up PS2 games anymore. But I saw this game in my local game shop, and it was going for very cheap. And I've actually heard a lot of good things about this game recently, so I wanted to check it out. And that is Urban Chaos. And this is basically a first-person shooter where you're like a riot cop. And what's cool is that this game was actually developed by Rocksteady. So it was, yeah, it was definitely a good game to sort of see in the wild. And I picked it up for £2, which you just can't go wrong at that price, really. Yeah, so I heard a lot of good things about this game, so I thought I would pick it up. I couldn't really say no to it for £2 at that kind of price, you know what I mean? So yeah, I'm looking forward to playing this because it's a game that's quite highly regarded. So yeah, just chuffed to get it. Next thing I bought, this is very cool. Now, most of you know that I'm a big fan of the Game Boy Advance. You know, if you've seen my collection video, I've got a decent sized collection. I even have the Game Boy Advance SP AGS 101 model with the brighter backlit screen. So I'm a big fan of the GBA. But I'll be honest, I've always preferred the original model. I've always just preferred the design of it, because I tend to find when I'm playing the GBA SP that my hands start to cramp up. So I wanted to get a original model, but of course, like, it had to be modded because that screen on the original is just completely a waste of time. So I picked this up, and yeah, this is a modded system, as I'll show you here, with a bright screen. And yeah, I'm really chuffed with it. Yeah, just a great thing to own for someone like myself that has gone out of his way to get a lot of games for the system. So yeah, really chuffed with this. Here I've got running Gunstar Future Heroes, a fantastic game, by the way, guys. So if you haven't got that, definitely pick it up. But yeah, really chuffed to get this. Long time coming as well. Again, this was a second attempt. The first time I tried to buy one, it showed up, but it was faulty. So I had to return it, and so I wound up going to another seller, and actually got this one was actually even cheaper than the one I paid for the first one. But yeah, really chuffed to get this. But there is one thing that I had to pick up for it as well, and this actually proved to be quite hard to find. Unfortunately, accessories for the Game Boy Advance are very hard to come by because obviously, you know, they're no longer being manufactured. So you kind of have to rely on the second-hand market, and you know, weirdly enough, there's not a lot of them on eBay. So this actually showed up on eBay, available for auction, and I had to nab it because it was exactly what I was looking for. And that was a magnifier for the first one. And this for me just makes it even better, because one thing that I use even on my AGS 101, I have to use a magnifier because the screen is just too small for my eyes. And the same thing goes for the original model, so this is absolutely perfect to go along with my modded system. Okay guys, and finally I have a little stack here of Game Boy Advance games. Some really cool games here. Actually, not all of them is a Game Boy Advance game. One of them is a Game Boy Color game. So yeah, let's start with the couple of Game Boy Advance games here. And the first one is actually just the box, and I just wound up getting a empty box for Sonic Advance 2. I have the loose cart already. This is the box and manual. Of course, I picked it up on eBay. Unfortunately, the seller didn't really package it well. He actually just sort of plunked it into a bubble mailer, so it did arrive crushed. But I've managed to sort of put it back into shape as best I could. But it is a little bit crushed. But I didn't pay a lot for it. I paid less than $5 for it, so I think it was still worth having. You know, just to make my game complete. So just to get that. Next game I bought here, and this one might seem like a bit of an odd one to get, but you know, bear with me on this. And what I picked up was Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man's Chest. And the reason why I picked this up was because I actually got it on a recommendation from another YouTuber. Because essentially what this game is a 2D action side-scroller, but it actually plays very much like a Castlevania game. It actually plays like Symphony of the Night. It has that kind of gameplay. It's not as good as those games, and but from the footage I saw, it looked pretty decent. Much better than it ought to be for this license, but yeah, it's actually a decent looking game. And it's cheap as well. Of course, like I mean, a box copy will only cost you about £10, so it's very cheap. Upon playing it, it's okay. You know, it's certainly not going to be taking up my time the way a Castlevania game would, but it's definitely decent. You know, if you want something cheap, it's definitely worth a look at. If you find the loose cartridge, definitely pick it up. Especially again if you see it for a couple of pounds, it's definitely worth picking up. But it's not an amazing game. I didn't really think it was all that. But it's also important to note, guys, there are actually two Pirates games on the Game Boy Advance. So if you are trying to pick up this game, make sure it's Dead Man's Chest, because there's another one that's called the Curse of the Black Pearl, and that game is really bad from what I hear. That's not a 2D side scroller. So if Castlevania games, 2D side scrollers are your thing, maybe worth giving it a look. It's definitely decent. Yeah, it's definitely worth adding to the collection. Whether you want it boxed or not is up to you. But yeah, it's alright. Okay, now we're really going to step up a gear here. Next couple of games, some real good ones here. These are definitely two games that I was really after for a long time. And the first one I picked up is Kirby and the Amazing Mirror. Really chuffed to get this. This is probably the one Kirby game I didn't have. And so I finally got both games on the Game Boy Advance boxed and complete. So this took a while to get. It was very difficult trying to find one for a good price and also in nice condition. So yeah, really chuffed to get this one. It isn't a box protector. I've actually had this for a while now. I've had this for about a couple of months. So yeah, so really chuffed to finally get this. Because like I say, I've said this before guys, I'm a big fan of the Kirby games. So yeah, just really chuffed to finally have them all on the old systems. And the last Game Boy Advance game I picked up, and again really chuffed to get this one. I actually had to, this has been on eBay for a long time. The seller had this game for £55 I believe it was. Yeah, for £55, and it'd been there for ages on eBay. No one was buying it. In fact, I tried to make him an offer, make the seller an offer, like a long time ago. I was always getting rejected. So I left it for a long time, but I saw that no one was buying it. And there was a copy that was on a buy it now for £35, and unfortunately I hesitated on it and I missed out on it. So I tried again with this seller, and I put in a best offer, and I put in a best offer of, I think what it was. Oh yeah, I initially put a best offer in of £35. Which I didn't think they were going to accept, but, you know, it was still worth a shot because I figured, you know, it'd been there for ages. But fortunately for me, the seller came back with 40 quid. So I wound up getting this game 15 quid off the retail price. And really chuffed to get it. And that is Gradius Advance. Really cool shooter, and it's in fantastic condition. It really is. Fully complete, of course. Yeah, definitely one of the few games that I was after. Yeah, just a very cool Konami title, and really chuffed to get this because it's a fun game. And I don't know if this is a updated version of Gradius or if it's its own thing. Not too sure, but in any case, it's an awesome addition to have in the collection. And the last game I picked up here, this is for the Game Boy Color. Now, this wasn't a game I was necessarily, you know, going out of my way to get, but I really do enjoy the games in the series, and this is probably the one that I still needed on the handheld. So I was glad to pick it up, and what was so amazing, I actually won this on auction for less than £20. I think I paid £16 for it all in, and it's in fantastic condition. And what I picked up was Wario Land 2. Really nice condition. And of course, you know, it is complete. And I paid £16 for it. And yeah, so it's finally, I'm glad to actually get this because I think it does complete the Wario Land games on the Game Boy handheld systems. I pretty much have all the games in the series. So yeah, really chuffed to get this as well. So that's it guys, those are my pickups now I think for the last 2 or 3 months. Yeah, just, you know, not a lot of stuff, but you know, just been spending most of my time just enjoying the games. And but these are all great additions to have in my book. So yeah, so thank you very much guys for watching. Of course, let me know in the comments down below what you thought. I would love to hear your views, and of course stay tuned guys, because there will be more collection videos on the way coming very soon, so stay tuned for that. And thank you very much for watching guys, very much appreciated. And of course leave a thumbs up, of course, you know, I like to, you know, it's good to hear from people. So yeah, until next time guys, bye bye.